Hey guys, Joe here, and here I'm going to talk to you about the Mega Man matchup guide / analysis. In this video, I'm going to be talking about who he's good versus who he's bad versus some pros and cons of him, and the such. With all that said, let's get this started. So let's get started off with the pros of Mega Man. The first one being that he is very confusing to fight if you are on the enemy's side and the enemy's point of view, pretty much. Mega Man's playstyle is very different, and it is very hard to get used to if you've never fought a Mega Man before, so I feel like that's a really good pro. It's really hard to fight against a good Mega Man player. The second thing is that you do have very quick and very powerful aerials. Now, they do have quite a bit of end lag, and they don't really combo into each other way too well, but they are pretty powerful, especially your back air. That thing kills, your up air also kills very early, and of course your down air kills, even though your down air isn't quite that quick. Now the third thing is also you have very strong combos out of your down throw. You can go down throw into up air, you can try to go down throw into forward air, down throw into your metal blade. There's a lot of different things you can do off of down throw, so it's a very strong throw, and you know you do have a kill throw. It may be not the earliest kill throw, but you know at least you have one. The fifth thing is also you have really good shield pressure. This is probably one of the best parts about Mega Man. You have your blade for shield pressure, you have your Nairo for shield pressure, forward tilt for shield pressure. You have all these different tilts for shield pressure, and also, of course, you have your side B, you have your down B if you really want to use that. You have a lot of ways to pressure the opponent's shield, and that really helps you get in for those grabs, which then you can combo after you get that grab. The sixth thing is that you also do have amazing chip damage. This is very similar to what I was saying earlier, that being kind of like shield pressure, but not exactly the same. Well, you have a lot of really good chip damage, and essentially your Nair, your jab, and your forward tilt, you know how they shoot out those three little pellets. Well, that doesn't do way too much damage by itself, but if you play very well, and if you space very well with these, you can hit the opponent over and over and over again with these, and eventually it'll actually add up to a lot of high damage, and the opponent usually doesn't even bother to try to dodge every single little piece of chip damage, so it does add up pretty quickly. Seventh thing is you also do have multiple projectiles, so this lets you really easily camp, keep the opponent far away, and what could be really bad about having multiple projectiles. Eighth thing is that you are also very heavy. You're a pretty small character, but you're also very heavy. So this means that you won't really be comboed way too easily, but you also die very late. And the thing after that is that you have a very far launching recovery. You can recover from almost anywhere on the stage. You can attack after your up B. You can jump after your up B. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do after that. So the mixture of being very heavy and having a far launching recovery is just a really good mixture, and it keeps you alive for a long time. And finally, you do have that very early killing down smash, which is probably one of your best smashes for getting kills. But with this all said, we got to go over some of the cons about Mega Man. The first one being that he does get comboed very easily. Now, he is kind of small, so it's a little bit hard to combo him, but at the same time, of course, he's very heavy, so the opponent can pretty much hit you over and over and over again, especially at around like 20 to 50%. You get comboed really easily, and you don't really have a good get-off-me move. You can try to use Nair, but that's a little bit slow, and it really doesn't stop all these attacks, so you get comboed pretty dang easily. The second thing is, of course, you don't have a good get-off-me move. As I said earlier, there's not much you could do. I guess you could also try for a back air, but these do come out very slowly, and they really don't save you from a lot of these combos. The third thing is you also do have three very similar attacks, that being your Nair, your jab, and your forward tilt. They're all very close to the same thing. They both do chip damage, or they all do chip damage, I should say, and they all pretty much do the same thing. So this is a little bit of a problem for you because it means you kind of have less options than a lot of the other characters in the game. Now, this is a very useful move, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying to have three of the same move, or at least very similar versions of the same move. So the fourth thing is also you do have a very hard time getting in. You could try to throw a metal blade going for a grab, but other than that, you really can't do way too much. You could try to go for a forward air, but you really can't go in, you really can't approach. You will have to stay in that defensive, which isn't way too bad because you do have a lot of really good projectiles. The fifth thing is that you are also a very difficult character to play. Now, I wouldn't really say that this is a con about the character, but it's a con about like trying to play the character. He's very hard to play right, and it takes a lot of tech skill and a lot of mechanical skill in order to play. So don't pick this guy up if you are light of heart and faint of heart. And then the next thing is that also your aerial combos, well, they really don't combo way too well. Your neutral air really doesn't combo into much, your forward air doesn't combo into much, your back air doesn't combo into much. Sometimes your up air combos into itself, but really you don't have way too many combos, so that does become a little bit of a problem. Mainly it's just down throw into one attack, and that's about it. Seventh thing is you also do have a lot of ending lag, mainly on your forward air, your down air, and your back air, so it kind of makes it hard in order to hit the opponent a lot and be a little bit safe on shield. And then finally, you do need a lot of space, so if the opponent does get into your space, you're in big trouble. But with all this said, let's talk about who I feel he does have an advantage versus. Of course, this is all in my personal opinion, and if you have a different opinion, make sure to tell me in the comment section below. I like to hear different opinions about different matchups. But with this said, let's get this started. The first person, or the first type of character I should say, that he has an advantage versus, in my opinion, is very short-range characters. Your attacks really keep people that are short range out, and they really can't get in any way. You can throw out your neutral B, you can throw out your jab attack, you can throw out pretty much anything and just stop enemies from approaching you. So with short range enemies, you can really just stop them from coming, and it's very nice. The second thing is you also do very well against slow foes. This is very similar. You can just keep them out. They don't really have way too many ways into your attacks, and especially with your side B, neutral B, there's not much they can do, and especially with your chip damage and your little forcing them to shield, it becomes a really big problem, especially when they're very slow, and they really can't approach you way too easily, so so there's that. The third thing is you also do very well against people without a projectile. Once again, you can out-camp them, you can out-spam them, and it's hard for them to approach you, especially with all your chip damage and your shield poke, with your neutral A and all the different things. So also the fourth thing is that you also do very well versus people without any out-of-shield options, because the simple fact that you get attack people on their shields a lot. A lot of the times, they'll have to hold shield to block your little 3 lemon pellets, and then after that, if they have an out-of-shield option like Bowser or someone, they can just up B and, you know, kind of get out. But if they don't have something like that, then you can just go for an air and then run up and grab them, and there's not really way too much they can do. It's actually a very good thing. You do very well, let's say, against people without an out-of-shield option, or a thing they can use right after they let go to the shield button. The fifth type of character that you beat is one that doesn't really have a very good approach option, mainly for the fact that you can keep most people out, and unless they have a really good approach option, you kind of win most of these battles. The sixth thing is also you do well versus people with very linear projectiles that go pretty much straight, or at least just bounce on the ground and don't do way too much. Since your projectile, mainly your metal blade, can be thrown in so many different directions, you can really kind of vary it up, and you can just avoid the projectile in general, so they really can't clank your projectile way too easily. It's kind of nice in that way, and also your lemons do pretty well in the same kind of fashion. Now, also the next thing is you do well versus tall enemies, mainly for the fact that, of course, you can always hit your neutral A a lot easier, you can hit your jab a lot easier, and your forward tilt a lot easier. It's just easier to hit on these tall enemies, and in general, projectiles are just a lot easier to hit on tall enemies. The eighth thing is you also do very well versus lightweight characters, for the two main reasons, that being your up air and your down smash. You get really early kills on these characters, and especially because you're so light, it makes it really hard for them to kill you, while you can kill them very easily. And finally, the ninth thing is that you do well versus people that need to gimp you, because it is really hard to gimp a little Mr. Megaman. So, if you happen to be facing somebody that needs to gimp you, it can be a really big problem for them. But now let's talk about who he does have a disadvantage versus, in my opinion. Of course, now the first type of person that he doesn't really have a good chance against are people that can just get in on him, people that can approach him really easily, and such things like that. It's really hard for Mega Man because if somebody gets close, he's kind of doomed, and that's just the main focus I want to talk about Mega Man. The second thing is also doesn't do way too well against combo-based foes because, of course, they can hit him over and over again. No get off me move. Of course, that's just asking for trouble as a Mega Man main. The third thing is you also don't do way too well versus people with further range projectiles or just further range camping or further range zoning than you. Now, your projectiles, you know, they shoot pretty far, but a lot of times they are a little bit shieldable, and the opponent, if they do have a further range of a projectile than you, they can just spam theirs, and you will be forced to approach, and you don't want to ever have to approach as Mega Man. It becomes a bit of a problem. The fourth thing is you also don't do way too well against reflectors. All of your moves, pretty much almost all of them, can be reflected, so it becomes really difficult when they just keep reflecting all your stuff back at you, and it becomes really hard to play your character. The fifth thing is also you don't do way too great against enemies that can attack right out of the shield. Of course, you often force people into the shield, but if the opponent can attack right after you force them into it, then you really aren't accomplishing way too much. They can go for something like a forward tilt or a jab or an up B, something right after it. You don't really accomplish way too much as Mega Man with your lemons. And finally, you don't do way too great against people with disjointed hitboxes because they can just slash your lemons, essentially with a sword or something like that, or slash your metal blade, and then go for you, and of course, that's a big problem. So here we are again at the even matchups. Now, in this section, I always talk about how everybody is pretty even, and of course, that's why it's called the even matchup section. I feel like right here, Mega Man does, of course, as always, have a lot of very good even matchups. He has some really good stuff about him. He has some really good zoning, stuff like that, but at the same time, he kind of does have some stuff that really stinks about him. So in these matchups, I feel like it's kind of 50-50, kind of evens out when he's against these characters. Thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to press that like button and comment down below your opinion on all these matchups and what I said within the video. And if you have any matchups that you do disagree with, make sure to tell me in the comment section below and why you think that they are different. Of course, I'm not perfect, and some stuff may be different, or just may be different in my opinion than your opinion. We've all experienced different stuff, and there's that. Also, in the comment section below, tell me who you want next week. Soon I'll be doing another straw poll to see what you guys really want to see. Thank you guys for watching, though, and I'll see you all next time.